Now student, let's study briefly chapter 6, towns, traders and craftspersons. In the medieval times between the 8th and the 18th centuries, there were temple towns, administrative centers, commercial towns famous for arts and crafts, and port towns. Moreover, some big towns and cities were famous for then one of those things. Let's study about administrative centers, temple towns, pilgrim centers at that time. Now, Thanjavur, situated on the banks of river Kaveri in Tamil Nadu, was the capital of the Chola dynasty 1000 years ago. It was a busy commercial town with markets for grain, spices, clothes, and jewelry. And water was supplied to its people and visitors from big wells and tanks. Its architecture included different temples and palaces with mandapas, means pavilions, that were used by kings to hold courts and carry out their administrative affairs, but they were also used as prayer halls. So Thanjavur is also an example of a temple town where urbanization, means the process by which cities grow, happened as temples became central to society and economy. Now, temples were built by rulers not only to show their devotion but to unify different communities, and they were maintained through cash and land grants from rulers and merchants, as well as from donations made by pilgrims. Now, big temples also used extra funds for business such as trade and banking to cater to the needs of the pilgrims and of the temples. Priests, workers, artisans, traders, etc. started living in the areas around the temples, and these led to the growth of temple towns such as Somnath in Gujarat, Kanchipuram and Madurai in Tamil Nadu, Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh, and towns around Bhilswami, means Bhilsa or Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh. Centers of pilgrimage also started turning into township such as Vrindavan in Uttar Pradesh and Tiruvannamalai in Tamil Nadu. Now Ajmer, the city in Rajasthan, that was both the capital of the Chauhans in the 12th century and the Suba headquarters of the Mughals, is a great example of religious coexistence. Now the next is network of small towns. After the 8th century, many small towns emerged out of large villages all over the Indian subcontinent. These towns had mandapikas, where markets or huts were set up to sell agriculture produce like horses, salt, camphor, saffron, betel nuts, and spices like pepper, etc. Streets were also set up to help small business and artisans such as potters, oil processors, sugar makers, toddy makers, smiths, and stonemasons. Now Samantas, means Jamidars or landlords, built forts around large villages and turned them into developing towns. They also collected taxes from traders and artisans, and inscriptions in temples tell us that some Samantas gave away the right to collect taxes to temples. Now the next is different traders. Now there were different kinds of traders in the medieval times, including the Banjaras, means nomadic people, and traders who travelled a lot came together to form traders associations or guilds. The most famous ones being Manigramam and Nanadesi, and they did this to protect their interest both within the Indian subcontinent and the Southeast Asia and China. The largest Indian trading groups were the Shetiyar and Marwari Oswal, and Gujarati traders such as Hindu Baniyas and Muslim Bohras. Now there was extensive trade with the ports of the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, East Africa, Southeast Asia and China. Indian spices and clothes were exported, and gold, ivory, spices, tin, Chinese blue pottery, and silver were imported. Many of these products also reached European markets, and these attracted European traders to India. Their arrival once again changed the structure of trading and towns in India. Now the next is different towns, different crafts. The inlay work in copper and silver done by the craft person of Bidar, a district in northeast Karnataka, became very famous and came to be called Bidri. Goldsmiths, bronzesmiths, blacksmiths, masons and carpenters of the Panchala or Vishwakarma communities built many public buildings such as temples, palaces, tanks, reservoirs, etc. As town developed, such aspects of cloth making such as cotton cleaning, spinning and dyeing become specialized and independent crafts. And many weavers such as those from the Salyar and the Kaikolar communities became very rich and made donations to temples. Now the next is lost wax. The crafts of making sculptures using different metals dates back thousands of years. Since the earliest of civilizations, metals have been melted, cast and shaped in molds to create statues. But the level of intricacy and detailing achieved can vary significantly depending on the process of casting. The lost wax casting technique was invented to create the finest level of detail in sculpting. It is a method of metal casting in which hot metal is poured into a wax model, which is lost during the process. Even today, highly detailed one of a kind sculpture are made around the world using this technique. Now the regional development Hampi. Hampi is a village in northern Karnataka. It was located in the ruins of the city of Vijayanagar, once the capital of the Vijayanagar Empire. By archaeological findings, we know that the city was well fortified, but no cementing material was used for binding the bricks or stones. Rather, they were wedged together by interlocking. The architecture in there was splendid, consisting of the royal buildings with arches, domes, pillar halls, sculptures, well-designed gardens and orchards. In the 15th and 16th century, Hampi became the center for various cultural and commercial activities. The markets consisted of traders such as Moors, name used for Muslim merchants, the Shettis and the Portuguese. The cultural activities included celebration of various festivals such as Mahanavami, known as Navratri in the southern part of India, one of the most important festivals of Hampi. Temples became the center for not only worship but also for the development of various religious and cultural traditions such as that of Devdasis, means the temple dancers. Now the archaeologists have also found the Mahanavami platform that the kings used to hold meetings and from where they watch various music and dance performances and wrestling matches. In spite of all these developments, Hampi, the cultural capital, started go down after the fall of the Vijayanagar Empire. Vijayanagar, as it was defeated by the Deccani sultans ruler of the Golconda, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Berar and Bidar. Now the next is Surat and trade. The city of Surat was cosmopolitan as people of all castes and creeds lived there. During the Mughal period, Surat means Cambay, present Khambat, and later Ahmedabad carried out trade with the west. It was also called the gate of Makkah as the pilgrim ships set sail from here. In the 17th century, the Portuguese, the Dutch and the English set up their factories and warehouses in Surat. Textile industry of Surat has been famous for its zari work and has a market in West Asia, Africa and Europe. Architecture of the city included magnificent buildings, many rest houses, pleasure parks, huge banking houses set up by Kathiawar Seths or Mahajans. The hundis means the financial instrument developed in the medieval times for use in trade and credit transactions of Surat were honored in markets of Cairo in Egypt, Bursa in Iraq and Antwerp in Belgium. Towards the end of the 17th century, Surat began to decline as the trade capital because of many reasons like the decline of the Mughal Empire and the resulting in the loss of markets and productivity, control over the sea routes by the Portuguese and competition from Bombay, means present day Mumbai, as the East India Company shifted its headquarters there in 1668. However, Surat is bustling commercial center of Gujarat today. Next is Masulipattnam, fish port town. The town of Masulipattnam is located on the bank of river Krishna. In the 17th century, the English and the Dutch East India Companies tried to control the town as it became the most important port of the coast near Andhra Pradesh. The Golconda rulers established royal monopolies on the sale of the textiles, spices, etc. to prevent the various East India Companies to control them completely. But due to this competition between the Golconda nobles, Persian merchants, Telugu Komati Shettis and European traders made the city populous and prosperous. The Mughals in the 17th century started extending their power to Golconda, and in 1686-87 Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb conquered Golconda. Thus the East India Companies then devised a new policy which described that the new trading centers should combine the political, administrative and commercial roles. In the 18th century, Masulipattnam declined and lost its merchants and prosperity as the company traders moved to Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Now the next is new towns and traders. In the 16th and the 17th century, the English, the Dutch and the French formed East India Companies in order to expand their commercial activities in the East. Initially, they faced a resistance from the local traders, but the companies soon gained control over the sea routes and forced the local traders to be their agents and emerged as commercial and political superpower of the subcontinent. The demands for goods like textiles increased, and so the crafts and spinning, weaving, bleaching, dyeing, etc. expanded greatly as many people participated in it, and the quality of the textiles improved. But these periods saw the decline of the independence of craft persons as they now began to work on a system of advance payments, which meant that they had to weave cloth which was already promised to European agents. Weavers no longer had liberty of selling their own clothes or weaving their own patterns. The 18th century saw the rise of Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, which are major metropolitan cities today. The crafts and commerce also underwent changes as the local or native artisans and merchants were moved to the black towns, means areas set up by the whites for the blacks or the locals, while they occupied the superior residencies of Fort St. George in Madras or Fort St. Williams in Calcutta. So students, here we have covered all the points of this chapter. With this, have a nice day. Thank you.